For, and I'll say it again, that the life of a Palestinian child is as precious as the life of a Jewish child. And this particular moment in time, we've had lots of statements over the last 18 months, this is not only this Parliament's not greatest hour. I'm really concerned that this is a moment in history when people look back where we've got it wrong as a country.
Will now the Prime Minister finally acknowledge that ethnic cleansing is underway and to end all UK military cooperation with Israel, especially the illegal provision of F-35 fighter jet parts, or will he risk make Britain complicit in war crimes and be the Prime Minister to see Britain answer at The Hague for its role in this atrocity?
Well, Mr. Speaker, most of what he says is simply not right.
Today, I'm going to discuss UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer's moral bankruptcy in the wake of his more shameful comments on the plight of the unfolding genocide of Palestinians by Israeli terrorists in Gaza. He made those comments during the Prime Minister's question time unashamedly. This brings me to question the moral degeneration of lawyer Starmer after becoming a politician. Independent MP Shockat Adam asked a very simple question. He drew Starmer's attention to three factual points. First, the Israeli government approving a plan to officially conquer Gaza by forcibly displacing the entire population to a tiny space in Rafah. He then referred to comments made by Israeli terrorist minister Smotrich, saying that Gaza will be destroyed in its entirety and Palestinians will be expelled to a third country. Shockat Adams' other point was about the official number of those slaughtered by Israeli terrorists during their genocidal campaign in Gaza. He also highlighted the ongoing expansion in the illegal settlement by Israeli terrorists in the occupied West Bank. The MP from Leicester used these points to ask Starmer why the Labour government was still not considering a total ban on the supply of arms and its parts to the rogue regime of war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu. It was such a simple question.
Shockat Adam. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This week, the Israeli government approved a plan to officially conquer Gaza. And just yesterday, Minister Smotrich vowed that Gaza will be entirely destroyed and that the Palestinians will have to leave in great numbers to third countries. This comes at the end of the extermination of over 50,000 Palestinian men, women and children, and something at the same time simultaneous expansion of illegal settlements in the West Bank, something I witnessed with my own eyes last week. So will now the Prime Minister finally acknowledge that ethnic cleansing is underway and to end all UK military cooperation with Israel, especially the illegal provision of F-35 fighter jet parts, or will he risk make Britain complicit in war crimes and be the Prime Minister to see Britain answer at The Hague for its role in this atrocity?
You'd have thought that a leader of a so-called civilized country would express his disgust on the Israeli plan to ethnically cleanse more than 2 million people. That's the least you can expect from someone who also happens to be a father of 2 children, currently being raised as per their mother's Jewish faith. Is it not fair to expect a leader of a so-called civilized country to be empathetic to the plight of children and babies and family and firmly denounce the action of a rogue regime? In Starmer's case, he's also been a seasoned human rights lawyer. But see how he responded. Not only did he let himself down, he shamed humanity and destroyed everything that he ever claimed to stand for. First, he began by calling most of the facts stated by Adam as not right. In other words, Adam was lying. But he couldn't point out even a single lie. Watch this.
Well, Mr. Speaker, most of what he says is simply not right.
Can can Starmer explain which bit that Adam said was not right? The Israeli government approving plan to occupy Gaza? Or Smotrich's comments on forcibly displacing Palestinians? Or the expansion in illegal settlements in the occupied West Bank? Or the UK being complicit in war crimes and genocide? Which one was not right? Which one was factually incorrect? If Starmer's first comment was not shameful enough, he said this.
But can I address? I do want to address the position in Gaza and the West Bank, because it is increasingly intolerable.
Increasingly intolerable? Still only intolerable after 2 billion people have been forced to starve by a rogue regime for over 2 months? This man says intolerable and no announcement or action to stop this barbarity by Israeli terrorists? Has he not seen photos of Gaza children who are on the verge of dying of hunger in the hundreds of thousands? These are some of them on your screen. Well done, Starmer. You have done yourself and your family members and the people who voted you and your party last year incredibly proud. You have made the UK proud. Hopefully, you are able to have sound sleep. Hopefully, you're also able to make eye contact with your own children. I still can't understand what happened in the last few years that an upright human rights lawyer who brought genocidal maniacs to task using his fine legal acumen has now become so morally bankrupt as a politician that even the pain of hundreds of thousands of Gaza children and their mothers don't move him a bit. What would make a man so heartless and cause so much of moral bankruptcy? I can't understand. Anyway, Starmer then shed crocodile tears on Palestinians being deprived of food, water, and medicine. But see his mischief and utter dishonesty in how he phrases his words. This man is an utter disgrace to the West and humanity.
And I am deeply concerned, particularly with the lack of aid that is getting in and the impact it's having on tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of individuals. That concern is something I recently reaffirmed to the Prime Minister of the Palestinian Authority, where I asserted again that a two-state solution is the only viable approach for peace. And our focus is on delivering peace for Palestinians and Israelis, returning to the ceasefire, getting the hostages out, and humanitarian aid in that is desperately needed in greater number and more quickly.
This shows that this man simply doesn't care about the plight of Palestinian children because they are not Jews or white. I can't think of any other reason. He said those being forced to starve were in the tens of thousands before correcting himself to say, oh, the hundreds of thousands. In reality, the number is in millions, over 2 million, to be precise. And what does he do to change the situation on the ground? By reaffirming his word, not mine. Reaffirming his concern to the head of the Palestinian Authority. So understand this. Who has caused the blockade? Israel. But who does Starmer shares his concern or frustration with? The powerless Palestinian Authority. And he has the audacity to flaunt that or use it as an achievement inside the parliament. He also said in the same vein that he asserted again to whom? Not Israelis, but the Palestinian Authority about the need for a two-state solution. Either he thinks we are fools, or politician Starmer has mortgaged his soul to Israeli genocidal maniacs. You know, yesterday, even a hardcore Israeli supporter, by his own admission, Conservative MP Mark Pritchard, made a stunning confession on making a mistake in supporting Israel.
Deputy Speaker, of course Israel is an important security, trade and democratic partner, but that doesn't give it a blank check. The fact is that 13,000 children have been killed, 25,000 have been injured, maimed, wounded, orphaned, some of them. And for many years, I've been in this House 20 years, I have supported Israel pretty much at all costs, quite frankly. But today, I want to say that I got it wrong. And I condemn Israel for what it is doing to the Palestinian people in Gaza and indeed in the West Bank. And I'd like to withdraw my support right now for the actions of Israel, what they are doing right now in Gaza. Of course the hostages should be released. Of course that Israel has a right to exist. Of course, the Israeli people, the Jewish people, should have the right to live in peace, but so do the Palestinian people. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again, that the life of a Palestinian child is as precious as the life of a Jewish child. And this is this particular moment in time. We've had lots of statements over the last 18 months. This is not only this Parliament's not greatest hour. I'm really concerned that this is a moment in history when people look back where we've got it wrong as a country. Can the minister stand up to our friends and allies in the United States and make a strong stand for humanity, for us being on the right side of history, for having the moral courage to lead, not just to follow the United States, and to make a difference? That's why we're all elected here. Let's stand up for life. Let's stand up for all children, not just Jewish children.
What will it take for Starmer and his minister colleagues to do the same? If Starmer is not bothered about the permanent dent in his reputation, he should worry about karma, which is unlikely to leave him alone. That's it from me. Thank you very much for your support of this platform and our journalism on buymeacoffee.com and Patreon. If you too think that our journalism is worth supporting, then you too should consider becoming part of it. Details are there in the description of this video. In the meantime, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so, because that's one of the many ways you can support independent journalism. God bless you all.